All right, what I have here is a new Hasbro Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which is the new movie. The Owlbear figure, which to me was really interesting. I don't know too much about Dungeons and Dragons. I don't collect too many Transformers, but I love Battle Beasts, and this thing reminded me of a Battle Beast. And it's a 12-sided die that turns into an owl. So really, you can't go wrong. So I gave it a shot and I picked one up. If anything, if I don't like the figure, at least I have a die I could roll around. Or if you're someone like Sean Astin or any other members of the Goonies, you got to pick up 2 or 3 of these dice because everyone knows a Goonie never says die. So I'm opening up the package. This is another one of those Hasbro's plasticless packaging that they're moving towards. In this instance, I think it's going to work very well. I believe the figure just comes, like most Transformers, just in its uh, either condensed form. Yeah. So it looks like it comes in a ball that is in the die form, and it looks like there's going to be instructions in there. There were some other figures in the series. I think there were 2 dragons and something else. I like the owl, like I mentioned before, because it did remind me of a battle beast. So right off the bat, the packaging is really cool. It looks like there's little wrapping in between, so there's no paint marks or scuffs. I do gotta say the numbers on the die itself are a little bit tough to read. They're kind of muted with the plastic itself. My only recommendation on that is if they use like a little bit of a darker plastic or they put some paint on them, it would stand out more when it's in its die form. But that's being very nitpicky. I'm probably going to display it in its owl form, and it's got the painted Dungeons and Dragons logo on it, which looks really great. So let's see what we can do about cracking it open and putting it together. Like I mentioned before, I am not too skilled when it comes to Transformers. I usually just pick up the animal ones that I like. Oh, this just came off. Probably pops right back in, so we'll take care of that later. So this might be a little bit of a learning curve. Follow the instructions, get it into its final form, but I think it's going to be a hoot. So this is from it's marketed as Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which is the movie. I don't know if this owl character is going to be in it. Um, if he was with the heroes, he seems dicey, so I wouldn't necessarily trust him. Or that could be a big reveal where he might be along with the band of characters, and at the end he turns out to be evil or a demon, then everyone at once says, I'll be damned. So the initial rollout of the parts seem kind of straightforward. The opening, they kind of expand out. Beyond that, I'm gonna say it's getting a little bit tricky because I don't want to put too much pressure on it. The hand already popped off. I was able to get it back on, but I don't want to force anything. Usually with Transformers figures, Hasbro's really good where things just occur naturally. So it looks like the first move is expanding out the legs and swapping the feet around. The detail on the feet and the hands is probably some of the coolest detail on this figure. And so that puts us on step 6. So the good thing about this figure and most of the other just Transformers figures in general, and I know this is not a Transformer and I keep comparing it just because it's more than meets the eye, but if you don't like the owl figure, the character that it turns into, you can always display it as in the die form, but a die is also functional. So you could probably take this to Vegas, you can take this to a casino, and you could probably play craps with it. And if I think about whether or not I'm going to do that, I'll bet I will. So I'm hitting a little bit of a snag with the wings. They don't seem to be the way that they're intended to on the box, where they're kind of reaching out in front of them. I think I might be overlooking a step. I'm just trying to take a step back and kind of conceptualize what it looks like. He's got like the little like hinges in the back that do move the wings around. And all right, so it does look like they fold over. So perhaps that is, and then maybe they could kind of slide back. Yeah, this looks like it's making some progress. They're kind of taking the wing shape. Yeah, his hands still seem backwards though, unless he's doing some like climbing and he's got a up. Okay, there we go. So his hands actually spin around on the arm. That is the part that was confusing me. I was thinking that the whole thing had to rotate. It was actually just the hands. And then he's got this feather piece that kind of is like the alfalfa sticking up on the top of his head. I don't think that's right. So we got to figure out what is going on there as well. Taking a little bit of a look, it does look like his head swings back a little bit. So let's push up on that. And yep, so there's a hinge right there, and then the head plops right back down. Now he's taken on a really cool form. You can tell he's a figure now. He's not kind of scrunched over. The arms still look off to me. They're extended from his body. Usually, again, Transformers have a very clean look to them. This doesn't quite have that look. From feet to the head, it looks fantastic, but I know I'm missing something on the wings, where they should kind of pull into the body, so it does look like it's one cohesive piece. And so, yep. So it does. It pushes back and folds in, and then it kind of pulls it all together. So it's that really cool hinge in the back. You fold it over and push it into it. And now we do have some of these wing pieces, which are the sides of the die, which are sticking out, which they look like they also fold over. But then there's one on the bottom, which again, just even without the instructions, you can tell that it's not the way it's supposed to be because it doesn't look natural. And this figure was intended to look natural in its owl form. Or I guess as natural as an owl robot mythical dice hybrid looks, which in my opinion looks just natural, especially in the toy collecting world. So I think this looks pretty good. You can see the hands come out, the arm pieces fold over, it pulls in. He's got a really cool headpiece look, like the sculpt of that. The back is a little bit plain, so you're gonna have to display him from the front because you can see still the dice on the back. But all in all, I'd say this is a pretty solid figure. It's not squishy at all. It's definitely solid, not gaseous in any way. So I like this. I could see myself perhaps picking up some more in this line. The dragons looked pretty cool, but this owl is definitely my favorite of the first 4 that they released. Yeah, just as I was doing my final walkthrough, I did poke his hand, and it still looks a little bit off, so I'm just double checking against the box. And it does seem like it's supposed to come out. I have them kind of folded in a little bit, so I think I might have missed one piece. So yeah, that folds in, and then that folds down, and then it still comes out like a hand. So I think I was most of the way there. I just wanted to double check that it was looking good. So I enjoy this. I'd say pick them up. I recommend them. Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, Dicelings. This is the Owlbear, and just a really neat figure. A lot of fun to put together. I would go out and pick one up. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Enjoy.
Hey, Ghost Rider, someone said you sound like an owl.
Who?